Yes, yes, yes. It is the Cast Worthy podcast, and we are back. 2/3 of the gang currently. Myself, Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the X Machine, formerly known as the Twitter Machine, joined by EJ, the Savage, sophisticated, social, sultry, and spoken for, shall we say? Mm? Cuffing
Continue.
season is coming.
Continue.
it's it's go time. It's Sunday. What's today? August
11th.
11th.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot going on, lot to get to. NFL preseason has started. The Olympics is winding down. A lot is happening. Actually, the female women are playing right now, and they're actually losing to France by 8
I should have bet. I should have bet.
in the third quarter. So we'll keep focus on that and keep it updated, but it's not looking good. They're looking bad. And this is gonna be crazy for the Caitlin Clarkers if they end up losing this gold.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
The
I
Kate,
wonder what the starting odds were because I was going to bet that Germany would cover whatever the spread was for them. I mean, France, rather. I'm sorry. I was going to
France.
cover the spread.
Oh, it had to be crazy because women have won what 12 gold medals in a row or some shit. Like
Right.
it's crazy. It might be more than that. They haven't lost in I don't know how long. So, um,
Right.
yeah, the spread had to be crazy. But France is the home team. They're on their home court. Um, they got a sea of blue out there. So, but I mean, it's still early in the third quarter. 7 minutes left in the third. Long time to go in this game. USA, they'll get it going. I'm sure. I feel confident that they'll get it going. Um, so we'll keep an eye on that. What else? House of the Dragon finale recap.
Okay.
Or the frustration that was. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
so much going on. Kamala's out there on the campaign trail, making her mark out
Mm-hmm.
there. She chose her VP this week. We hadn't talked about it. Tim Walz, who was the governor of Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yep.
Minnesota. So we hadn't touched on it.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. He's a former teacher. Did some great things, free lunch for inner city youth or for all public schools, whether inner or out of city. So shout out to him for that. Served
Retired
in the
military.
military, retired
Mm-hmm.
military. They're saying this guy has no 401k, no stocks. He's one of us almost. Like this dude is not I'm sorry, not 401ks, but no stocks or bonds is what they're saying. No outside investments. So um
Kind of
he's
wild.
he's he's one of us, and he's got so much fire for Trump. He's had so much fire over the years for Trump. Kelsey Plum is balling to Asia. And it is a 5 point lead now.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go USA. Um he's done a lot for people is what it sounds like, and he's got so much fire for Trump, so much fire for Vance. I love it. This is what we've been asking for God knows how long. Just for the Democrats to grow a pair and be a little risque, if you will,
Yeah.
responding kind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This was not to speak for VP, but this was his second most desired choice.
Mm.
So he was on top of things. But yeah, he looks like an older gentleman, but he's only months older than Kamala. So that black don't crack. Sorry, but
Yeah, but
he's
he's
not
got
super
spunk.
old.
He's got
Yeah, he's
spunk,
not super old.
pizzazz.
He's giving you that white male presence to offset the white male ego of Trump. He ain't gonna be talking. Trump ain't gonna be talking that. I'll punch him in the face. He ain't gonna be talking that with this guy. You know.
I mean, he can, but I don't know. This
So
dude seems like he's about that life.
about that action, that's what I'm saying. He know better. You
He
can
got some
tell. You can tell by
charisma.
the energy. You can tell by the energy that Trump has for her selection that he's like, all right, you got me. You know what I mean?
Hmm. he
You know,
immediately he immediately, started talking about Trump and his BS, but also Vance was like, "Yo, I can't wait to basically battle this dude. Like, I can't wait to debate him." You know, and he's an educated guy, right? That's the difference between what you're seeing from him and what you're seeing from JD Vance and even Trump for that matter, but more so JD Vance, who's um he's got a college education, but it's more of like one of those frat boy college educations, like, daddy paid my way through type of joints. And so when you see him and hear him talk, he doesn't sound, you know, educated at all.
intelligent. Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't he just sounds like one of those, bros. And America, those Americans want that, but like if you really sit back and look at the way America is today, you don't need that on top of the child that he's running with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have this man child and a president. You need some at least, as much as we didn't like his previous VP, and I don't know why his name is escaping me right now.
Pence.
Yeah, as much as we didn't like Pence, he was somewhat, mature, right? And he was mature enough in that moment, like on January 6th, to be like, nah, I'm not fucking with you. Or at the,
Oh, of course, because his life was on the line too.
right. But even with the election, right? Overturning the election and, 2 point lead. 2 point lead.
He was like, "Come on, buddy, we lost. Cut the shit."
Yeah, like and even so now saying like I'm not voting for this guy. Um the Arizona governor, who is a Republican, came out yesterday at a Kamala and Walt's um
Rally.
event. I
Yep.
think it was a rally, but it was an event for sure.
Mm.
And he was like, "Look, I'm for the country. I'm not for the party." You know what I'm saying? So it seems like the energy is turning a little bit, and I think our underlying is still gonna be like, what's in it for us, right? We
That's
know that this has to happen, but still long term, I need to know what's in it for us. And then, once in, I need action, because the reality is this is gonna be, if selected, this will truly be her fifth year in the White House. Like, and she's leaning on that George Floyd bill and all of that. I need to see that happen. You can't just lean on it and say, this is what I want to try and get us, and come out with the Quavo lyrics and shit like that and get us like you did with the Chucks, and then kind of put us on the back burner. Like, you're important, but not that important. You're on the priority list, but you're on the low priority list. Like, we need to be somewhere on that high priority list.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And this is seemingly, you mentioned her doing her press run, and shout out to you and I, who, for ages had stressed the importance of her or someone from this party energizing the quote unquote less politically, educated people.
Yep.
And going back to the college degree part, a degree means nothing. You know what I mean? If you're not able to critically think and
Hmm.
put things together. I mean, most people I know with college degrees that are super smart have education from the street somehow, right? And the college degree is just that paper, that standard that this country has desired from you. So you're 100% right. This guy Vance probably got his way paid through everything in life. So you look on the other side and you look at what Kamala's doing. I love that that she is seemingly doing exactly what we asked her to do, but it also seems like she's disconnected from the people, because she's got the interview with, oh girl, I can't remember her name, not Angela Rye. Angela Rye. Yeah, I think it's Angela Rye. And she's kind of like stumped on answering these questions geared towards black people.
Hmm.
She's on other platforms where she kind of looks uncomfortable when people are asking her ethnocentric kind of questions. Now, let's be clear. She went to Howard in the 80s, super black. In the oldest black, Greek letter collegiate sorority for black women. Absolutely. But it kind of seems, she's kind of out of touch to some degree. Even when she was speaking with the Quavo lyrics, and it just seemed kind of
It
weird,
didn't. Yeah, I don't want no more of that.
I
I
don't
don't
need
want
it.
no more of
I
that.
don't need it.
Like, you, like you can clap back at them and which is what I'm sorry, what Waltz has been doing, and even her for the most part, without it sounding pandery and cringy. Like that Quavo, all like they say, walk it like they talk. It just sounded, it sounded Stephen A. Smithish. You know what I'm saying? You know how Stephen A. Smith be doing that shit, and it just sounds cringy. Like that's kind of how it felt. Like the old head trying to sound like the young head. You know what I'm saying? Like next thing she'll be up there talking about I got that Riz. you know,
It just sounds nasty. Like it just sounds
yeah,
nasty. I guess just placate your age. Maybe I mean, obviously she knows these people, right? Because she's going out of her way to invite these cats to the White House. She's been in connection, like I said, with the HBCU presidents, and they've got thousands of volunteers. But yeah, you could, like you said, you're gonna have to stand to deliver, like the movie. You're gonna have to stand and deliver. Get these loans gone, get rid of them. Get this bill passed, get it done. You're a
they blocked
prosecutor
that
for.
again, by the way.
Say that again. Oh, they blocked. Yeah.
Republicans, they blocked it again. Joe tried again, and they blocked it again. Actually, the High Court blocked it.
Mhm.
So we'll see, man. I mean,
I feel like she's savvy enough though to figure something out. And you have your prosecutor background. I think that might touch a lot of the people on the right. So I mean, it's some things that can be done. And I think what's going on with police in this country, it's starting to just become so egregious. It's been egregious, right? But I think it's becoming so obvious that at some point something will have to get done. And again, like we've always said, mobilize the people, get the people involved. That
one
that's one
point
thing
lead.
that's one thing the Democratic Party has suffered. Not being able to reconnect with the people. And I mean, if you can get people locally to kind of get behind your cause, that might have a little bit more influence. So I think
Yeah,
she's doing the right things. Just pull back the the blackface.
yeah, no doubt. There's two things there to me that you talked about. Her being savvy enough to get it done. One of two things needs to happen. Either she needs to figure some way to get an executive order to get rid of something or some of it before Joe gets out of there, especially if it's after election, right? After election, he's gonna pardon by Hunter, no question. Whatever he gets, pardon, right? And it is what it is. Pardon your son, because I would do the same shit. Um, and then find a way to EO it and then get up out of there in January. She steps in, takes over the helm, boom, right? Or Democrats got to play hardball. You know how VP always tells us that the Republicans hold up the bills and stuff because they're like, you got to slip this in. We're not doing this unless you say no to this for trans or something like that. They got to do something like that. Like, yo, we're not signing anything. We're not agreeing to anything unless the student loan piece, the save program is in there or whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to put something in there.
Something you got to give the people something, man, and it can be done. That was the thing that always kills me. Like we saw the different going back to George Floyd bill, and maybe not specifically with the police, but extending something for other minorities. We saw how things were quickly passed and done for other minorities, but the one minority in this nation that has dealt with slavery, prejudice, racism for centuries. We
Police
have not one
brutality.
thing. We have not one thing, and not one specific thing. Let me say, and then to the student loans, the question has always been in the air, and we still not have received an answer. How much power does Joe actually have to executively do something about these loans? And
Yeah.
it's almost like the power is probably there if we want to get down to the nitty gritty of things. And it's just like this bipartisan nature to be like, I don't want to do it. No, it's about time you reward the people that have been in your camp and do something for the people. I mean, it'll
Mhm.
benefit everybody. It'll benefit everybody. Republicans got student loans too. It's like Jordan said, Republicans buy Jordans.
Yeah,
Republicans got student loans too.
for
So
sure. for sure. And at the end of the day, you're president for everybody. So you got to look at everybody. But at some point, you got to be like, we've done this for Asians. We've done this for Jewish people. We've done this for trans people. Granted, trans people are made up of everybody, but nonetheless, right? We've had targeted, bills and things written for these individuals. You cannot sit there and say, we're not doing this. We can't do anything specifically for black people. Like, it has to be something like the stop and frisk is basically something against black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, blacks, Mexicans,
Statistically.
in general, right?
Yep.
Um, you got to do something. You got to do something, even if it doesn't say, "Hey, this is for African Americans." It has to be something that's perceived for us, similar to stop and frisk, which was perceived for us, for Mexicans, for Puerto Ricans, for basically non-Christian white people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Agreed.
we'll see where it goes, man. I don't want to beat that dead horse. We spent I think enough time without VP today on
Hey, I think we
politics.
covered it. I think we covered it. I think we covered it.
Um, 43-43 right now in the USA women's game. Gold final, 5 seconds left in the third quarter. They're going to be going into the fourth. France looks like they're a little bit derailed. My girl Kelsey Plum is balling. Love me some Kelsey Plum, yo. Really do.
Shout out to Waller, Darren Waller. Hold your head, bro.
Yeah, that's a heartbreak. She made that man. She made that man quit football.
Hold your head, bro.
she
Somebody,
her fire
somebody
her
keep him
fire must
on.
be better than Ariana Grande fire, yo.
Somebody keep
Gotta
him
be.
on watch, yo. Yo, speaking of the Olympics, this was the first time in history where the finals were in both men's and women's same matchup, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't I
Hmm.
think it's a
U-
first.
USA France, first time ever. Men went out yesterday and did their job. We'll get to that in depth. And then it looks like the women, they figured out what they're doing wrong. My girl Asia Wilson is out there balling. Love that girl too, man. Great to see her balling. Um, Man, these teams have just been getting it done. We saw the USA men. We could talk a little bit about that in depth. Before we get to that, because that's going to probably be long term. Have you been watching the Olympics or catching up or watching like the prime time stuff?
Yeah, I'm catching the highlights for sure. Caught the highlights.
So this year we had, I want to say, 17 gold track and field medals, or 14. I'm sorry, 14. The next most year that we've ever had was four. Four.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
We
been
have
killing it.
14 this year. Watching this Olympics, this country needs to be changed to African America. We are no longer the United States of America. We are African America because we are out there putting on and representing for this country more than anybody. Like everything I see, watching this Olympics, like it, dude. Track and field, shout out to them. Gabby got 3 golds. My girl Gabby, she's a baller. Shakari grew on me, man. I always had smoke for her, but dude, watching her in that 4x1 women's 100, oh man, she she's a
Listen,
beast,
the
yo.
smoke might have been warranted though, because everything we said, we were like, "Yo, she didn't seem focused. She got all of this other stuff going on.
Mhm.
She cut the wigs down. She cut the weave down. She, you know what I mean? She heard everything everybody had to say, and she put everybody on notice, man. So I mean,
I think
hey,
she's a testament to people coming into fame really quick and never being around anybody, mature enough to kind of fix it. And she got some act right, and I think she got around some people that were like, "Yo, we got to get you right because you got so much potential. Can't let you piss this away." I mean, you saw, in the opener before they even got to the opening of the Olympics, she was around the LeBron Jameses. Like she was on the boat around those guys, the mature, those people, the mature individuals who were probably telling her, "Yo, get this done. You got it. This is your moment. Make it work, right?" And she went out there and she's been getting it done. And the qualifiers, she looked great. And then the 4x1, she was the anchor. They were down, bad handoff, and she smoked. She smoked, absolutely smoked it. And she just on her shit, man. She's on her shit. Shout out to Shakari Richardson, man. She is a beast.
Yeah, people knew what she had, and it was just a matter of getting her focused. But to the point of track and field, shout out to the youth movements all across the country. You know, they're track youth clubs, and they've been around forever. But shout out to the former athletes that are going back and really pouring into this generation of kids. Shout out to the kid Quincy Harris.
Quincy
Is his name
Wilson.
Quincy
Quincy Wilson.
Wilson?
Hmm.
Um, you know,
16 years old, man.
16 years old, pulling out that win with straight heart. You know what I mean? Um, but point, and like I always say, when people get to a certain level, they lose the fundamentals because they're so talented. Bad
Hmm.
handoffs has killed USA track all Olympics.
Hmm.
There's something they could fix. I'm sure they'll go back and fix it, especially if they get the right people around them. I don't know why Michael Johnson isn't more involved with the Olympic team. Probably some bad blood, some bad feelings somewhere down there. I haven't really listened to his story, but I mean, if they could get some more Olympic, I don't know how many Olympic runners they have already involved, but if they can get some of those people with that superstardom around them that can kind of, get these people right to kind of deal with the fame and everything. Um, I think it's only up, and I think we're gonna keep dominating USA track and field for a long time. I mean, Olympic track and field for a long time.
No question. No question. Yeah, Quincy Wilson, 16 years old. He ran in the qualifier. He ran the first leg of the qualifier, got them through, and this was a 4x400. And then they went out there yesterday and they won that. They smoked that. And then the women's 4x400, they won that by something like 35 meters. They was way out in front. Like they was, man, the USA track and field team, men and women, and shout out to Noah Lyles too, man. I hate the COVID thing because you don't really know the truth to it. You don't know if that was like his Trump moment. He was calling that he was gonna blow out the 200 men's 200. He ends up winning the men's 100, which nobody expected, which was great. Got the gold there. But then he ended up with bronze on the men's 200, and then he collapses afterwards. And he's like, I was COVID positive 2 days ago, blah, blah, blah. But then yesterday he posts online, look, I'm COVID free and a COVID free test. Like, that's pretty fucking quick, dog. Like, I know you're an athlete and your body moves quick, but, and I don't want to make it seem like it's not legit, but I could see people questioning it. I could see.
The testing could be shaky. The test kits could have been shaky. He could have just been feeling something in his lungs. Who knows?
He
Bottom
might just been
line,
sick. He
yeah.
might just been
Bottom
sick.
line,
But he still
we
got bronze. Like that's still good. Like even if he wasn't sick, getting bronze in that event. I mean, the worst part of it is that he talked mad shit, but you still got bronze. You were third, in that event and first in the 100. You know what I mean? So one of the fastest men in the world, and the guy that got gold in the 200, he beat in the 100. So like it's a toss up. So you still get your respect. Hopefully he also matured a little bit and gained some respect for Team USA being around them, talking about they weren't world champions after winning, the NBA championship because they didn't play everybody. But this year, that team, man, the men's Team USA was put through a lot. Um, they had some adversity. The world is caught up to America when it comes to basketball. We're seeing not only are there a lot of NBA players from these countries, but we're also seeing that the ones that haven't made it to NBA are balling. The ones that play FIBA and shit like that. We saw that. We saw Serbia. Serbia gave the United States a run for their money. Um, the last two games we'll talk about, those are probably the most important ones, the semifinal and the final. They played Serbia. Serbia jumped out on them. At one point, I want to say they were up by 14. This was going into halftime. And people were concerned. There was some absolute concern. You saw it on the face of the crowd. They pan to Mello. Mello looked concerned. Like, a lot of people look concerned. D Wade sounded concerned during that game, during the Serbia game. And then they come out in the second half and they just figured it out, it seemed like. They started to figure it out. And then you start to see Chef Curry. And Chef Curry started doing what Chef Curry do. He pops out and shows like, yo, all right, I know what FIBA ball is about. Basically, is what he's saying. Uh, you know, this is a 3 point league. This is a 3 point league. Who's better built for a 3 point shooting league than Chef Curry, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, shout out to Steph and LeBron and KD for basically carrying this team throughout the majority of the Olympics. Hey, I mean, me and VP already alluded to having our concerns with the makeup of this team, and that proved to be true. They just happen to have two the best, the very best to ever play and in the world right now to will and get it done. I mean, you talking about a team where the finals MVP didn't play multiple
Mm,
games.
hmm.
Ooh, that's kind of crazy. So I mean, shout out to them. And I told you guys, I said, France is one of those teams I was keeping an eye on. Canada, and France is going to be pretty good for years to come. So I think the real storyline here that VP and I have consistently been saying is, where do we go next? Who
Yeah,
do we have next 4 years?
VP joins us now. It was great seeing the three probably best players of this generation play together. I felt like commentating and everybody did their best. They did their big one, making it like this huge thing, and they blew it up like this balloon. But it was dope seeing it. It was good seeing them play together. Um, I don't know that it had the same impact for me as seeing Magic, Bird, Jordan on the same court, simply because back then you didn't see these super teams. It was unlikely that that could ever happen, right? With these guys, we've already seen KD and Steph together once before, right? And the LeBron and one of the other ones is not so far gone that it can't happen in the NBA because we're seeing that constantly, right? We see KD and Book together. We're already seeing that in the NBA. So while it was great to see the three of them together, I don't think it had that same impact as seeing that dream team with those guys together, only because you would never have thought to seeing Magic, Bird, Jordan together.
I think that goes across the board for everybody on that team. Seeing Jordan and Ewing, seeing Bird and Ewing, all of the different rivalries of these guys that you watch them hate each other for 82 games actually come together for a common goal, right? And it was Bird and Magic's last run, basically. But I mean, I think the aesthetics of seeing all of those guys that throughout the year were literally beating up on each other and trying to kill each other. It was almost like a super action superhero kind of team up that you wouldn't see. So I think to your point, seeing you know these superstars playing together isn't far fetched anymore. But the fact that they were able to come together and gut out this Olympic medal was phenomenal.
Yep, I 100% agree with you there. Um, VP, you look like you're pretty occupied over there. I don't know if you're watching USA come back on France or what, um, but then we saw the game yesterday. EJ, did you watch the game yesterday,
Versus
or did you
France, no,
see
only
did
the
you see
highlights.
highlights? Okay,
Just highlights, yeah.
so I was able to watch the game. I was lucky enough to be able to be home at 3:30 and watch the game. I'm pretty sure VP watched the game, and in that game, um, I don't know that I ever felt like the USA was out of it. I don't think I ever felt like USA was gonna lose, but I did feel like if they fucked around, they would find out. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like there was this fuck around,
yeah.
find out scale. They were probably on the third dot out of seven, if you will. Wemby was looking good. LeBron got dunked on. I thought that was major, not because he got dunked on, but because it turned the tide of that team. Once he got banged on, like I'm talking about, like absolutely banged on, ding a ling in his mouth, like really bad. The one time that he probably should have flopped, he tried to take a charge and he got banged on by a guy who's not even in the league, like a FIBA player, like that kind. Or I'm sorry, he plays for Spain, I want to say, but yeah, he got banged on heavily. Their king, their goat, banged on. Um,
notice how he keeps emphasizing that like over and over and over again.
What's that?
Yeah, yeah,
No, but I thought, no, seriously, all jokes aside, I thought that was a turn for France because their team woke up. And then Evan Fournier starts to pop up, who had 0 points, and he starts scoring. Then Cordonier, I forget, the point guard who was playing good all throughout the tournament, who had 0 points, pops up, and now he's scoring points. And I felt like, all right, this is where the USA has to weather the storm, to get right. And they let France go on a little run. I think it was like an 8-0 run. They started to get back in the game, and and then we'll fast forward through, right? Brown gets his passes off. He kind of disappears in the moment as usual. And Steph pops up, and he's like, all right, I guess it's my moment. And in a 2 minute and I want to say 2 minute and 11 seconds, he hit three big 3 pointers. I want to say four actually. Big 3 pointers, man. Um, LeBron set one up with an amazing behind the back pass. Like, no one expected
That
him to
pass was
make that
ridiculous.
pass. And,
That pass was ridiculous.
and Steph cleaned it up, right? And so these guys, seeing them play together, seeing those plays was the highlight. And I think it's for this generation, these young kids that are out there watching ball, this is going to be memorable for them, just like for us watching MJ, watching the Dream Team, watching the Redeem Team coming up. Like, this was probably one of the most memorable Olympic runs because they were battle tested versus just kind of running through and winning by an average of 40 points like the Dream Team did.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For me, watching that game, I I went into it thinking the US would win, but I did think that they were in danger in late in the fourth when the score had got within six. And I don't remember if it was a turnover or just like a defensive stop, basically, in a rebound. And then France came down and somebody hit a three and got it within three. And the crowd, I thought the roof was going to blow off the place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, we all watch sports and you kind of have that feeling like, oh shit. You
The
know what I mean?
momentum.
Yeah, because, we know players feed off of that, you know?
Yep.
And that's when Steph came down and started hitting those series of threes that Steve is talking about or whatever. But like in that moment, like I still had confidence we would win, but that's when I kind of got that feeling like, man, these, they might pull this out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Because
was a
they
good
got
game, but
Wemby.
yeah,
I,
it
I
was
think
it was a good
France,
game.
where France went
Great
wrong
game.
to me is I feel like you have Wemby and you have
Gobert.
Gobert, and they're long and big. Pause. And in FIBA rules, being able to being able to goaltend basically is something that you have to take advantage of when you got two big guys like that. Like even
Yeah.
Embiid and AD should have been doing that. I think we saw Wemby do it one time, and then the whole USA starts to call for the goaltend, and then they remember, oh shit, it's FIBA rules, and D Wade
Hmm.
was like, you could do that in FIBA, right?
Yeah.
If I got these guys there, I'm telling Wemby, do not move out the paint. I don't care where they pull you to. That ball, as soon as it hits the rim, you need to grab it. You're that big. You can do it. Grab it or knock it out, volleyball it, whatever. They miss a shot, that ball goes in the stands. Like, that's
Yeah.
how I would have coached it if I was France.
Hey, I mean, right now, the women are in the dogfight. It's 55,
Yeah.
55. So, I
Those games is
mean,
tough.
yeah, when you're talking about that
They
moment,
playing hard.
it's right there right now for the women. Um,
I want them to win, man. I
I
really
mean,
want
I
them to
want them to
win.
win for sure. And like
But
you said, Steve, before you came on, the Caitlin
That's why I want them to win.
truthers will never let up if they lose.
That's why I want them to win. Because
also,
you won't.
Steve, sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
No,
just
no,
gonna say
no,
because you
finish.
won't hear the end of it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say for the point that you're making about the FIBA rules, I definitely agree. Like literally one of those goaltending situations happened, and we're watching, and TJ's like, "That's a goaltend." And I was like, "Not in FIBA, you can do that or whatever."
Hmm.
And like the way that with the defense, you can hand check a little bit more and stuff like that. And I was telling him, I was like, part of the reason why I think the U.S. was struggling or seemingly struggling early on in the competition, is that I feel like even though those guys went to Vegas and did their training camp and all that stuff, like, or where they, I think they do it in Vegas, but did the training
Mhm.
camp and stuff. I was like, once the game started, it's like that NBA muscle memory camp. LeBron's been in the league 20 years, Steph's been in the league 15 years, KD's been in the league like 12, 15 years or whatever. And it's easy to be like, oh, I did training camp, so I'm good, I'm set. And then 15 years of muscle memory kicks in. And it's like, okay, no hand check, no this, no that, boop, boop. And these other guys, even though they have NBA players on their team, most of the players are, FIBA style players who play, in the European leagues and stuff like that, who play under these rules. And so it seemed like it took them a couple of games to kind of almost like get their sea legs, to know, okay, this is what the rules are. And now I can play defense a little bit tougher. I can hand check, I can do this, I can do that, because we're in FIBA now. Um, um, so I think that was part of the problem with the U.S. team early on. But again, like I said, man, it was a great game. I'm sorry you missed it, EJ. It was a
No, I mean
phenomenal
that
game.
I've been on highlights all throughout, but the major thing is two takeaways for me. It's coaching is so important, and I I've never liked Steve Kerr to be at the helm here, because even going back to that '92 Dream Team and subsequently teams after that, the influence of somebody like a Mike Krzyzewski, who was very cerebral and prepared for these things, you know even when they had the redeem team, it was never a question of how we were going to play. We were going to play bully ball. We had the identity. We had the tenacity. This team, to VP's point, Steve Kerr, you got a more laid back guy. Even though Teron Lewis there, he's not the guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think the identity of this team was definitely a little bit less gas, and more breaks than past teams. You know what I mean?
Oh man, this fucking guy. Y'all never miss an opportunity, huh?
What did he
For
say?
what?
I was watching Kelsey.
No, he's
Uh,
talking about Steve Kerr, and then he's like, I mean, you got Teron Lue there, da da da, as if they don't have a two-time championship coach on
No,
on the
only
staff,
only
who is
reason I
Eric
say that
Spoelstra.
only reason I say that is
well, they got a
because
four-time. They got a four-time coach.
only
It's the head
only
coach.
reason I say that is because while those
Actually,
guys
what is
are
it?
are
Seven,
while
six?
those guys are who they are, there's always that respect element for the quote unquote head coach, right? And both those guys are professionals. So I feel like while they could insert their identity into this team, they probably wouldn't be the guys to overstep Kerr. So
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
I'm
think I don't think
saying
they were gonna. I didn't mean it in that way. I just like I was guess I was my point
VP
is
just in
I
his
guess
bag.
no
yeah,
He's
no
in
I
his
was just thinking
Miami bag.
I
yeah.
was thinking that EJ was thinking like more of like a tougher defense should have been played. And I literally said here in the house to our group that was watching it here that if Spo was the head coach, I feel like the team would have been more defensive minded than it was, because that's Spo's thing is defense first. And you can see a little bit of that. That's how Kerr is a more offensive
That's
guy.
that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I mean?
that's my whole point. He
Yeah.
has that FIBA aspect to the scoring aspect. But when
Hmm.
you're talking about what creates those large margins of victory, you're talking about a defensive minded coach that's gonna give you that tough, demeanor and identity. And that's why I was going back to Krzyzewski, because that's who he was at Duke. That's who his reputation is. So
Let's call a spade, and this is not a dig at anybody on that team. They are not a defensive team. AD, Embiid are defensive because they're big. Pause.
I don't even think they are. When you start
Drew
being
Drew Holiday is defensive, and
LeBron is defense.
that's probably LeBron is a chase down defender. He's had times
LeBron
where
is an
he's played.
elite
He's
defender.
not. No, he's
LeBron is
not.
a great defender. Yes, he is.
LeBron is not a great defender. Y'all got to
LeBron has
stop. Y'all got to
historically
stop.
been an elite defender.
Like, so you're in your like nobody can be better than Jordan bag bullshit,
No,
and nobody's
no,
saying that. I'm not saying like,
no.
oh, LeBron should be
That is
defensive
that
player of
is
the
not
year and all that kind of
that
thing.
is that
LeBron
is
is a
not
really really good defender.
LeBron is a
Elite
good
defender.
LeBron is a good defender, but what my point is, you guys are not letting me make my point. My point is that team is made up of scorers. That team is made up of guys that want to be the alpha, that team is made up of closers, which is why they were able to get it done in those last two games. That is not a defensive minded team, is what my point is. And the guys that were defensive minded showed up. AD had 4 blocks yesterday. Drew Holiday was on Wemby at one point yesterday in the closeout game. Like, this is the guys that were defensive minded were there. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying anything to dig at LeBron or anything like that. But what I'm getting at is it's possible that Spoelstra probably was saying, "Yo, let's play some better defense. Let's think this way." And Kerr might have been like, "I know, but one, these guys are old, and two, that's I don't know if we have the makeup for that." I did want to give Spoelstra his flowers, and I'm sure VP saw it because there was one point where Spo where they panned over to him. He's saying something to Kerr, and then Steve Kerr pulls Steph to the side, and then that's when the Steph Kerr flurry starts. So I don't know if that was
But,
Spoelstra saying,
but
"Yo, we
this,
need to go to this guy, to the hot hand," and Kerr consequently went to his guy and said, "Yo, I need you to take this over." I don't know if it was a trust thing where he went to Steph and was like, "Yo, you're the guy I trust in this moment," from a Steve Kerr standpoint, or if it was just Steve Kerr, or I'm sorry, just Steph Curry being Steph Curry, and the other guys were just there was a shot of LeBron calling for the ball at one point, and Steph, that was the shot that he made over two hands, and you can't be mad at that shot. That's a Steph Curry
Yeah.
shot. It's a bad shot for 99% of the population. Steph Curry is the one guy who can make that shot.
but this is
Yeah.
a prime example of where you zoning out is key, because we all said the same thing. It's we don't I don't believe that this team was defensive minded at all. And going back to the Redeem team, the name me 5 guys that you would call all defense that's not named Wade or Kobe on that team, or LeBron, right? But again, coaching matters when you have these professional guys. And to VP's point, in the FIBA basketball, these guys are playing for pride, country, and they play fundamentally one kind of way. When you have defensive minded and tough coaches that can get these all NBA guys to change the way that they play basketball, that's what Olympics is all about. It don't matter that you got Devin Booker. Again, we saw the finals MVP not get any minutes. That should tell you right there that
Well,
coaching was a
so
major element to say,
that's what I want
we
to get
don't
into.
care. We don't care that
Let's get
you're
messy.
Jason Tatum. We don't care that you're Jason Tatum. We're going to play the best guys that we know are fit for this Olympic game. And that's why coaching is paramount.
But I mean, with the Tatum situation, right? I think people are making too big of a deal of him
No,
not playing, like,
no,
because he's
Absolutely not.
no, nope,
Absolutely not.
nope,
Absolutely not.
nope.
Absolutely not.
Maybe in the lead up games, maybe in those first 4 games, but in these last 2 games, you can't tell me that Devin Booker is a better option than Jason Tatum. You can't tell me that even Drew Holiday is a better option at this juncture in the game. I don't know that KD is a better option than Jason Tatum. Can KD score better? Absolutely. But you're talking about defense, and I think Jason Tatum plays better defense than KD. KD is just long. Again, pause.
I don't think Tatum's
I think it was just
necessary.
a downright disrespect. This guy won the NBA championship. It's not
Doesn't
like
mean
he's
anything.
coming. Listen, from the standpoint of the United States as the coach, you can't tell me, yo, this guy won the NBA championship, got he didn't get an MVP, by the way. That was Brown, who
Brown, I'm
didn't
Brown.
make
sorry.
the team, who should have. But but you can't tell me that this guy shouldn't get minutes in big moments. Like, I get, like, the first game he didn't play, he played 0 minutes. I'm like, all right, maybe they're saving him. Then had a little bit of minutes in the next few games, and I don't know, like, to me, this is just Steve Kerr being somebody. I don't know if Steve Kerr. I don't know if it was Spoelstra who started this. Maybe because they keep getting their faces beat in by Boston this past season. I don't know. I don't. But
Look, here's the
this
thing.
was just pettiness.
If
This wasn't coaching. This was
if
pettiness.
if Spur went in saying, okay, on the wing, I'm playing, LeBron, KD, and I don't know who the wing guy,
Booker was on the wing.
Booker.
Booker was on the
You
wing.
know what I mean? And that was the rotation, or not the rotation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I don't know that this was like a disrespect. Like I'm not playing Jason Tatum because I don't personal vendetta thing or you know what I mean. I think it was one of those things where it was like, at my wing, these are my best options or whatever,
No,
and
I'm gonna get him, EJ. I'm gonna get him.
Nah, before you hijack it, I can't see how this guy has a DNP. Like he is one of
he
the
Well,
played.
best.
he played yesterday. He played yesterday. Just
I'm saying I can't see how he has a DNP at all
oh, I got
throughout
you.
this tournament at all. I can't see how this guy is one of the best in our league. He's known as one of the best two-way players. When you talk about best two-way players, his name is up there. Jalen Brown is up there.
What?
They always say it. They
Whether
always
we
say those
agree with
two
it or
guys
not, I
are
mean,
two.
we say he disappears, but he
I
is
don't
a
think
top player.
defensively he's a liability. I don't think defensively he's a
I'm
No,
no,
liability.
I'm not saying
Right.
liability, but like, come
So
on.
again, don't act flabbergasted when I'm saying this guy's a defense is a two-way guy. He's gonna
where's
play
Tatum on your
defense.
But
list?
no, that's not. No, that's not my why
Let
what my
me
reaction was
finish.
about. My
Let me finish.
reaction was
Let me
because you
finish.
said
Let me
one of the
finish.
best. Like that's
He
like
is
saying
one of
because
the.
I
He
wear
is.
clothes, I'm one of the best
In the
dressed
league.
motherfuckers on the planet.
Give me another.
You know what
Give
I'm
me another
saying?
five guys in the league right now that are known to be a better two-way player than him. Give me another five guys, not named LeBron.
Give me another five guys. You can't name these people.
Give me another five guys.
I got a few, but I think a few of them weren't even there. But on that team, I think that Jason Tatum is a top player. Here's my other point to it,
Devin
right?
Booker's better two-way guy than him. VP.
No, no,
No.
no,
So what are we talking about?
no. But
What are we talking about?
I'm thinking Steve Kerr was coaching to the traditional point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center type of thing. You never really saw them go to a point where they didn't have either Embiid or AD in there at
Yeah.
center. Of course, these were big guys, and you had to do
And
it.
and bam,
But and Bam,
they
but
rotated those three out consistently.
I just don't know that. I think he was like, all right, my depth chart says Bron, KD, and Tatum, and so Tatum is going to be third. But here's where I get it. Where I'm going to get you, VP. Jason Tatum did not look happy about not playing. The difference between him and Tyrese Halliburton is Tyrese Halliburton, he didn't look happy. Like he wasn't like, yay, I'm not playing, but he didn't look bothered by not playing. Every time you
Mhm.
saw him, he's cheering him on, he's laughing and joking on the bench, he's chilling. There was times there where you looked at Tatum and he looked like he didn't want to be there. That's to me, that's downright pettiness. I feel like that's something where there was some type of maybe something happens in practice or something. The difference there is like with Halliburton, I feel like he accepted his fate. So with Halliburton not playing, I think one of two things happened. I think one, he did something in practice and knew he wasn't going to be playing. Like something came up in practice or on, team bus, whatever. Maybe he broke a rule and they said, hey, guess what? You missed curfew, whatever that looks like. Or the nigga got caught smoking weed and they didn't want to chance him getting tested after playing and them getting whatever, doped or whatever, doping, disqualified.
He still wouldn't have. He still would have been a liability even if he didn't log any actual minutes. He still would have been in violation. But I think the reality
Yeah,
is
I think
when
he
you look
still
at Ty,
serves out the team.
right, when you look at Halliburton, he knows the differences, Steve. He looks at this roster and he knows he's not one of them guys. He ain't been one of them guys even in Indiana. He
He's
didn't show up for
yeah.
Indiana he didn't show up for Indiana when they needed him. He wasn't a factor in the playoffs. He knows he's not one of them guys. The
Listen,
difference with
Derek White was a replacement,
the
right?
difference with
Halliburton
Jason
was not.
Tatum, difference with Jason Tatum, he's one of the best players, notably best players in the league. He's one of the best two-way guys that can go out there, get you 40 on one of your best defenders, and put up a great defensive night against one of your best offensive guys. And the fact that he didn't get enough utilization, if you're him, you have to be looking at this as a personal thing. I'm one of the best in the NBA. I'm a champion. I dominate most times when I line up against any of these guys one on one. It's a fact.
Okay. And I hear you there,
And you
right?
don't
But
even
I
select
think
my teammate.
so I think that Steve makes a great point, right? Not about the Halliburton
Clip that.
potential doping stuff or whatever, but like about practice and things like that. You know what I mean? And it makes me think of my brother went to high school with a guy who also played O line. Dude was very good. And when the University of Miami was looking, he ended up going to South Carolina, but University of Miami was looking at him as well. And when the coaches talked to him, they told him that they can't bring him to the school. And when he asked them why, they told him straight up, like, you're lazy. And what they meant by lazy was not about your play, about the stuff that's happening in between the plays. You don't
Mm-hmm.
jog back to the huddle. You kind of, you know what I mean? And it's these little small things that you're doing that shit don't sit right with us. You know what I'm saying? And so even though you're a good offensive lineman, you were good enough to get a scholarship to go to the University of South Carolina, and you could have got a scholarship to come to us, that kind of shit don't work for us. You know what I'm saying?
So you
And so
saying
maybe there's
Taysom ain't
something
got
that's
the
happening,
intangibles?
huh?
You saying Tatum don't have the intangibles in
I'm not
between
saying
them?
that he doesn't. I'm saying maybe something happens because I think that you guys are. Tatum is a very good player. You guys know that I'm hesitant on his like superstar label. You know
Me
what I mean?
too.
But he's a very very good player on the cusp of being a superstar. You know,
Is
um
he better than a
um
39-year-old LeBron today?
No,
no.
no, not for Team USA. No.
No. But I mean, if you talk about other guys like a Drew Holiday, like a Derek White, and Tyrese Halliburton, something like that, absolutely. Devin Booker, I would put him ahead of Book. You know, but I have to wonder if maybe something like that, like an intangible kind of thing, is happening. And instead of embarrassing him when Kerr talks to the media, saying, "Look, this guy's not showing up at practice. So if he's not practice, you don't practice good, you don't play good." You know what I'm saying? So instead of saying that, he just, maybe he's just saying like, "Oh, man, I fucked up. I
I missed it.
forgot he was on
Yeah.
the team. Oh, what was I thinking?" You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
Oh,
Because it,
was that two or three?
he's definitely a professional to do that.
I
Is
think it
that
was a two.
France?
Yeah, I think it was a
oh,
two. I think her foot was on the line.
Mm,
Oh, they're gonna lose by one. I would have loved to see overtime there.
67, 66.
67-66, one
That's it.
second left. Oh yeah, her feet are definitely on the line.
That's it.
Great shot. Great shot off the bank. Good game. Good game. USA 2 golds. That puts us even with China.
oh yeah, she's definitely over. I'm saying
Yeah,
the
Hmm.
replay is just coming up for me now.
she knew it. She knew it.
But you know
That
what?
puts
But
us
you know
over
something though,
China at
Steve.
golds.
You know
We're tied
something,
with
though,
Like
Steve.
that was a good game.
You know some Steve. Going back to the women's game.
Kelsey
I
Plum's
don't.
baddie.
I don't know how well Diana Taurasi did,
She didn't
but
play either.
so I
But
think
she old.
Caitlin.
She old. I
I was
think
gonna.
they had her
I was gonna
more just
say
for like
make her a coach. I think the Caitlin will still have an issue with that
she'll
because
coach in she'll
you
coach in
put Caitlin
2026.
Clark in there. You put Caitlin Clark in there, you might get some more offense
Yeah.
versus
France
You
played it
know,
somebody
better.
who's not dressing.
yeah,
France played it better.
my wife made this point yesterday, and like you're seeing it now. Like in the team events, like a silver medal is like the worst. You know what I mean? Because you win gold, you win bronze, you get silver because you lost. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like in the individual sports, you earned the silver. You beat the person who finished third. You beat everybody who finished behind you. You know what I'm saying? It's just that you didn't beat the one person ahead of you, but so you earned that silver. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in team sports, you're going for gold and then you lose, so you get a participation trophy. Whereas in bronze, you were trying to make the gold medal game, you didn't win, and you still went out there and beat somebody and earned that bronze. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
That's the
Yeah.
way
and I
to
think
look
that's
at
why
it.
you see, huh?
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Serbia
I
went
think
out and
like
won theirs.
yeah, so like yesterday, you see the French team yesterday, and you're looking at the women now. They look dejected because it's like one, they're in their own building essentially because they're the home team, and then two, you just lost the gold.
Look at her
You know what I'm
eyes,
saying?
dog.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it in a reverse kind of way. When you win the bronze, you kind of more happy to say, "Hey, we beat someone to get a medal at all," right?
Did
Or we
she got
beat
two
Versus
black
everyone.
guys?
Yeah, right? We beat everyone
God
else.
damn,
That's what the
they
bronze
was
is. The bronze,
strapping, yo.
no, the
bronze is
bronze
I
ain't
beat
you beat
everyone
every.
else.
No, the
No, I'm
bronze ain't
saying
you
that I
beat
beat the
everyone else.
field. I beat the field is what I'm saying. I beat
The
I beat
bronze, the bronze to me is something you hold on to because it's saying, "Hey, we didn't walk out of here with nothing, right? I'm from around the way. I got to leave with something. So I'm going to take this bronze. But silver hurts worse because it's like, yo, one more point, I'd have been world champion. One more, if I just stretched out a little bit more, Noah Lyles wouldn't win. It's so close that you're on the cusp of ultimate victory and you lose by the smallest margin typically. So silver, while it's beautiful, it's gotta hurt the worst because you're looking at what you could have been. Whereas bronze, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to medal.
This was an amazing game. The Olympics this year, I love watching the Olympics. Like, I think I've watched the Olympics. My TV has been I know my wife is gonna be so happy when this shit's over because my TV hasn't left USA or the local channel for us since the Olympics started. Like, it's just been every single day. I get home, I put that shit on, and I watch the prime time, even though I watch the shit during the day. That's how crazy it is. I already know what's happening, and I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah,
So
like I was gonna tell you, I saw a guy that I follow for more political stuff. He's like a media reporter, a reporter who just reports on media or whatever. So, but he usually covers like how the media is covering politics or whatever. But he put out a long thread on Twitter a couple days ago saying how NBC executives said that this is the highest rated Olympics in, I think they said since 2008 or something like that.
Mm.
And they basically said that the people have spoken, and they were testing it out this Olympics with the whole not holding the prime events until prime time, and then playing them recorded and let people just watch them when they air, if you watching on Peacock or whatever.
Mm.
And they were saying that people were watching all of the stuff, the gold, and they said that in that channel they have that's called Gold Zone, which is kind of like a red zone on the NFL
oh yeah.
ticket or whatever. They were saying numbers were crazy, and they essentially say, "Yo, the people have spoken, and I guess we're gonna have to do it like this," you know. And I'm like, I've been saying for years, like, what the? I don't want to wait till 8 o'clock. I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to wait till 10:30 p.m. to see the Michael Phelps race or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To see Gabby Douglas at
Well,
gymnastics. You know what I mean? So I'm
I don't know
glad
how
that.
easy that is in 2028. Maybe it's a little easier because showing it at 2 p.m. Well, shit, even 2 p.m. Pacific time is 5 our time, which is 11 o'clock in like France. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't know that that's going to work in 2028 as far. I mean, they'll probably figure it out. They'll probably figure it out, but they're
Yeah,
going to still have to run it on local time. But I want, a couple of things I want to talk about here. Before we get off the Olympics is, I just watched the ending of this game. A couple of things, shout outs I want to give out to LeBron. I don't know if y'all saw that clip of him dapping up his kids, and then the clip of him chilling with his daughter at the women's volleyball game. Like, this dude just makes the case for best off court athlete of all time every time you see him, yo. As a dad, as a family man, greatest, ever in that arena. But also, I think he reads the room really well. Like, USA just won, and he could have easily went out there and dapped them up on the court, but then he steals their shine. You know what I mean? He stayed on the sideline. They came to him. They dapped him up. He just dapped them. He didn't get out of character, move from the sideline. I think he kind of knows his star power in that light. And really smart, really professional of him not to steal their shine.
You
yeah,
know what event
and
I did watch that needs some work? Olympic breakdancing.
Dog,
yo, I
dog,
refused. I
dog.
refused.
Take it out.
I, s-
Put
I saw
put
a clip.
chess in there.
I saw a
Chess,
clip
spades,
I
pinochle,
saw a
nigga. I
clip.
don't care what you put in there.
Yeah, I saw a clip on Twitter, and I was like, nah, dog, no, no, no,
Put
absolutely not.
Olympic Texas Hold'em in that motherfucker if you want.
I
I
saw
don't
somebody
care.
said that I saw somebody said breakdancer was born in the Bronx and died in Paris.
Dog. Yo, that shit
Yo,
was
it's
bad,
facts.
yo.
It's facts. It's facts.
That
It's
Because
yo, that gotta go.
because
They
they're
they
not
gotta
gonna
do it.
they're not gonna bring nobody from the hood over there. They're not gonna bring somebody from Baltimore that been breakdancing since they were
Mhm.
5 over there. They're gonna bring you know you know
that's
what they
gotta
brought.
be it's gotta be one of the biggest travesties for hip hop culture. It's gotta
And
be.
the worst part about the breakdancing is like in running, right? or swimming or anything else, if you suck or you're last place, you just suck or you're last place. You're still running or swimming. But in like breakdancing, you got to have some level of talent. You have to execute. You have to have moves. So the ones that ended in last place, dog, my son could do better than that. Like
Yeah, that shit was
it's,
terrible.
it was bad, yo. It was bad.
Yeah,
Did y'all hit
it
up?
is really bad for it is bad for hip hop though. Go ahead, VP.
No, I'm just gonna ask if y'all discussed Jordan Childs.
Not yet. Not yet. We'll
Okay,
close with that.
Mm.
But
all
one
right.
thing, 2028, they do not have boxing on the Olympic event list right now. They plan to
Really?
sunset boxing from the Olympics starting in 2028. I don't know how you feel about that, EJ, as a huge boxing fan. I do not like it, but I am very happy because what's his face? Logan Paul or Jake Paul said that he wanted to box in the 2028 Olympics for America. So I am very happy that they sunset it if that's the case, but I think it's really sad for all the people that have been boxing all their lives, that have been working towards being the best, trying to go represent their country at some point, for it to not be there in 4 years.
I watch you know me, Steve. I watch anything Olympics really, and for some reason I just never usually get around to the boxing in the summer games. But
Mhm.
like, I mean, boxing is one of the oldest sports on the planet or whatever, and to sunset that in an international competition to me just seems insane. I
Yeah.
don't know what the reasoning is, and a lot of times the Olympic Committee's reasoning for sunsetting sports don't make any sense to me. Like when they got rid of softball, it just doesn't. I don't get it, So
Mm.
that doesn't
How
make
long
sense.
do you think before pickleball makes it to the Olympics? Or what's the beanbag joint?
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking
Hacky
that. I
sack.
can't hacky sack.
It's not hacky sack.
No,
It
not hacky
has it
sack.
has a it
Cornhole.
has a
Cornhole.
cornhole. Yeah.
Cornhole.
No, I'm
How long
surprised it's not in
before
the Olympics already.
cornhole might be there in 20 in America? Oh, forget it. Tennessee,
With some
especially
beer.
if Trump wins, dog, it's gonna be cornhole. It's gonna be more shooting sports. It's gonna be,
I thought
best cop beating up. Send your best police team and beat up
you know
on this black man.
it's crazy that they don't have um what's that sport? I think it starts with like a B. It's like one of the huge like top 10 sports in the world.
Bowling, nigga, bowling. I
No,
know
not
what you was gonna
bowling.
say.
No,
Well, they
no,
don't have
like
bowling, and they should. Baccarat.
really,
That's a
bocce.
Bocce
card
ball.
game.
No, that's a card game.
Bocce
Isn't it?
ball.
That is a card.
I think
Bocce is
I think it's called
Italian.
bocce. I don't know.
Bocce,
Bocce
no,
ball is
nigga, it's
Italian, but
bowling. B. You said it starts with B.
No,
Bowling.
no,
They need
no, no, not with
bowling.
a beat. I'm sorry. I know what it is now. Cricket. How come they don't have cricket in the Olympics? It's one of the biggest sports in the world.
That's true. That's true. Actually, do you
I
know
think it's like
because they
top
don't want the
five
Caribbean.
if I remember
the
They don't
correctly.
want
the
the
cricket
Caribbean to
the
win.
cricket World Series is the number 3 watched sporting event in the world
Yeah, cricket is
annually.
one of the largest sports in the world.
Hmm.
Like I
Mm.
think it's like in the top five of like most popular or whatever.
Because it's just stickball. If you go to the Bronx, you see cricket, what they call cricket. Anyway,
It's
just
not the
stickball.
same. Not the same at all. But them taking away Olympic boxing, I think is gonna hurt a lot of the up and coming.
If no,
Yeah,
just
if they
to
take it
kind
away,
of fact check that. Go
it
ahead.
would hurt a lot of the up and coming people, looking for a dream. But the other thing about it is it's been so crooked over the years, that I don't know that a lot of people will really be hurt by it. Because a lot of people that should have won medals justifiably didn't win. And I mean, boxing is one of those sports that no matter where you are, you can go pro and make a name for yourself. So I know older boxers in the past have been proud to be Olympians, just like any other team or team from another country would be, another athlete rather. But I don't think it hurts the sport of boxing, at least, which I think would be the overall crime if it hurt the overall scene of boxing. It's definitely not going to hurt the sport in itself. So it's going to suck, but it's not going to hurt the sport.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because you just don't have as many boxers coming from other countries, and making it to like I don't know, but we'll see because it's
You
just not on the list right now. It's
you
possible that
might be
it
onto
ends
something.
there.
You might be onto something because of the professional influence and being able to go pro literally anywhere in the world. If somebody takes a flyer on you, a lot of Olympic clubs might not be as invested as they once were. For
Mhm.
England, that used to be their thing. Like England lived and died with boxing. Canada lived and died with boxing. But now you got so many English greats that are just going pro. They're in the stable. They're not even fighting. You're not even going to see a Anthony Joshua. Granted, he's at the back end of his career, but you're not going to see a lot of the English greats on the Olympic teams anymore because they've signed deals with Eddie Hearns and Top Rank and all of these people. So you might not even be getting the best talent from these countries. And I mean, places like Cuba, while they love boxing for the country, they are also trying to get out. So what I mean, I don't know that you're going to see the best talent from the Olympic field in boxing. So that might be why.
Well, the Olympics has wrapped up. I want to talk about Jordan Childs too, but really quick medal count. United States 40 gold, China 40 gold. So there's a tie there. The over under for United States when I asked you guys a couple weeks ago was 39. So anyone that decided to take that over on the bet would have beaten the sports books because they would have had 40. But the over under for total was 129 and the United States only ended with 126. So the under on total medals would have hit for the United States.
Goddamn
Um,
Vegas.
Vegas.
I think I took the under on the overall
Yeah, you did. You
when we
did.
talked about it.
I took the under on gold, and
And we should have had one more goal. Like I don't know if y'all saw that thing I posted in the chat. They got
oh, that
that
DQ.
meme. No, that meme of from when Wade played for Cleveland, and you got that meme of like LeBron looking at Wade, and somebody photoshopped it and put no allows. so, so when it was like when China had overtaken us in the goal count, somebody posted that thing and like tagged no allows like
Yeah. Well, I mean, we also lost that one gold swimming medal where
yeah.
she got DQ'd. So we would have had the
At least three
41.
more. Probably would have had at
Yeah.
least three more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the high jump.
High jump last night.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they were in a tie, and
And
the
they could have
black dude
tied gold.
they could have just accepted both get a gold, and the black dude was like, "Nah, I came here to get it."
Typical.
Which I don't. I mean,
Typical
I
American.
don't have a problem there. You want to be the best. I get that, but then you didn't win.
Well, we have 42 bronze. At one point, we had 40. We would be ending with 43 bronze medals, but Jordan Childs, who did her floor routine, and her team uh, challenged because she didn't get credit for one of her moves, I guess you would call it.
Mhm.
In the moment, the Olympic Committee or the Challenge Committee or whoever makes that decision overturned it, gave her the bronze medal. And a couple days later, which was yesterday, they came out and they stripped her of her bronze and said that her team did not challenge within the allotted 1 minute after the routine, and that was the reason they were taking it away.
Hmm.
So, her family, her sister, older sister, is up in arms. She's posting all types of stuff. This has never happened before. No one's ever lost their medal for this reason before, which is probably likely. I mean, what's the odds that somebody challenges and wins, by 0.10 anyway, off of a challenge? I mean, we probably haven't seen that many times in itself. Um, do you guys feel like it's warranted that they got it right? Do you feel like it's a rule, or you think they should have let it fly?
This whole Jordan Child situation is tough for me because one, I'm coming into it biased, right? I'm an American, and you're stripping an American of a
And
of a
you're proud to
medal.
be an American
Yes,
because at
very
least
very much
you're
so.
free.
um, um, so I'm coming into it with a bias, right? And then I am also a type of person who believes in the rules. You know what I mean? The rules are the rules, right? And so if you got this challenge in late, then it was late, right? But the problem that I'm having with it is that everything that I'm seeing on this rule is this is a rule that is typically like not enforced. It's one of those things that's on the books, like how we have those laws that says it's illegal to eat ice cream in bed in Missouri. And so, you know, or to put it into more of a, you know, stuff where we typically live, sports, is like the tuck rule, right? Where it's like, oh, we have this rule, and you know, it never gets used, and then
Are you
all of
talking
a
about
sudden,
the female boxing tuck rule or
I can't, I can't.
I'm out. I'm out.
ah, ah. Sorry, go ahead.
So
Yo, don't come for
you know,
Tom Brady, dog. I'll come for your
it's
people.
so it kind of seems like the tuck rule situation where it's like, we have this rule that we never use, and then all of a sudden, we're enforcing it now in this one game, even though we haven't enforced it in 40 years or whatever, and that's the kind of vibe that it had. I think that what they should have done here is say, this is the rule, and the team got in the appeal late, and this score shouldn't have been changed. But because it was already changed or whatever, and we don't typically enforce this rule, we're going to also award a bronze to the Romanian girl. And then we're going to let all of the federations from around the world know, hey, going forward, this is how you need to handle this or whatever. You know what I mean? But
This is
I
why we
don't.
have this is why we have participation medals today, EJ. Jordan Childs should have that fucking medal. And the reason she should have that medal, rule or no fucking rule, they got the score wrong. They got the score wrong. They're not saying, yo, we looked back at it and we were wrong by giving her the extra point. They're saying, oh, it wasn't challenged within a minute. Well, if you would have got it right, then we wouldn't have had the challenge anyway. So that was her rightful score. She should have that medal. You can't tell me even if, dog, if I challenge that shit a month from now and y'all go back and look at it and say, yo, yeah, we missed it. This is that Monday morning quarterback bullshit that the NFL does. Oh, we missed that call. It was a pass interference, or our ref called it as a touchdown, or whatever the fuck. Like, I'm so tired of how they handle sports like that. Right is right, wrong is wrong. She should have had this score. This was her score that night. She deserves that medal.
I
And that's
agree.
not because I'm American. That's just how I feel.
No, and I don't think that you're wrong in what you're saying. The judges screwed up initially, right? But there is a mechanism in place to handle screw ups, right? And they're saying you have to do it within this amount of time.
You know what a
You know what I'm
minute?
saying?
Think about a minute, dog. Think about a minute in that
Yeah,
moment where you're running
I
around.
do have a problem with the time. I think doing it in a minute or whatever it is too short or whatever. I agree with you there or whatever, but it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't like. I think the Olympics, their thing with medals and stuff is just screwed up because I don't know if you've been watching the Olympics as closely as me and Steve have, EJ. But in this Olympics, they've been awarding medals for previous Olympics. So somebody who did figure skating in the 2022 Olympics just got their gold medal at this Olympics. And then they also awarded a gold medal to an American that won the high jump in 2012 based on some crap that happened or whatever. And if you think about like the stuff that's tied to these Olympic medals, where you can get endorsement deals, you can Wheaties box, commercials, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to wait 12 years to find out if you won. And it's like, okay, I was at the Olympics in the high jump, and we hadn't won the high jump since 1980. I don't know how long it had been, but let's just assume it had been a while. You know, I could have parlayed that into an endorsement deal, made some money, changed me
Oh,
and my
look at that
family's
kid
life.
from the Philippines. The kid from the
Right.
Philippines got 2 goals. So he got a house and a condo. He got
Hmm.
the equivalent of over a million of their dollars, 327,000 US
Right.
dollars. Like,
And, and
he eating.
and that's exactly where I was going, because now for that high jump guy, right? Let's say, now he's like a PE teacher in high school, and it's like, oh yeah, I got a gold 12 years later, and here comes the $25,000 check that's associated with winning gold. I guess I'll pay off my car. You know what I'm saying? Like
Go get me. I'm gonna
it's
go get me
so
a new Corolla.
right. It's terrible the way the Olympics
But
like
he could parlay
adjudicate
that into a
their
book or some shit.
problems.
Hopefully he does. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They got to do better. Um, but then again, I don't know, man. Like that's a loaded topic. We'll save that. We'll save that because that's gonna be a long one. Pause. But they do need to do something about it, in my opinion. Um, but Jordan Childs, shout out to you. You're a bronze and gold medalist in our eyes. Last thing I'll say about the Olympics, me personally, and I don't know if there's anything you guys want to say about it, is as much as I'm gonna hate it if it happens, I would like to see LeBron James in 2028 only because it's in LA. That's the only reason why. Like you have to like that feeling of if you really like America as your country, like there's no I don't think there's anything more, and if you like basketball, I don't know if there's anything more that you would want to see from that. I don't know if he's going to make it. They asked him and he said he doesn't see himself playing then, but you never know, dog. In 4 years it's very possible.
I think what they do here now, I'll make this my last thing as well. I think what they'll probably do is like maybe have LeBron be like an ambassador to kind of like the way Snoop was. Like still have Snoop because I mean it's LA. You got you everything they did in Paris with
Oh,
Snoop.
forget about it.
You gotta like 2-3 times it. You know what I mean? Because the Olympics is in LA. So that's gonna be great TV. But maybe they'll do something like that where like LeBron is like kind of like an ambassador, for the network, going around like doing different stuff or whatever, and talking about it with Mike Tirico or whoever's the host.
But you
But
don't have to be active in the NBA to play for the Olympic team. So he could be
yeah,
like a Tarasi,
right.
who was on the team but just suited up, So I
Yeah,
don't know.
but
We'll see.
yeah, I don't know if he want to do nothing like that. But the other thing I was going to say for my last thing is, yeah, shout out to my guy. I wish I would have pulled his name up before I said it, but my man from Turkey from the shooting team who just came out there looking mad casual and walked away with a silver, yo. That the side by side of like all the equipment those guys wear, the lenses and all that kind of stuff. My man just came out there like I told my wife, I was like, remember in 2020 when Obama was campaigning for Biden, they were in the basketball gym before they went out to go do the rally, and Obama just pulled up from three in his dress shoes and everything and hit that three, nothing but net, and he turned around, he's like, this what I do. Like I was like, if this what I do was a person, you know what I mean? Because this dude just came out like bang bang, you know.
Oh,
It is
oh
what
yeah,
it is, dog. You know.
he's definitely a contract killer. No question. No question. NFL preseason is underway while we're still sort of on sports. NFL preseason started this past week. Man, I'm so far behind on my research for fucking Olympics is throwing me off, yo. I haven't looked at anything for fantasy this year.
Yusuf Dikek.
Sure.
Guy from Turkey, the hitman from Turkey.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah,
I'm not
Tell
like
buying
that's
us.
his real name.
before you
Yeah,
right
exactly.
before you go into your bullshit. I don't believe you at all. You're not gonna fake us out and say you haven't been researching. I know you. You're lying. You're driving to work listening to fantasy podcasts.
Right.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. So save us. The minutes. Okay. Just go right into what you were going to talk about.
It
It's untrue. Untrue. Hey, when does Hard Knocks start?
already started.
It's been going on.
The new one? Not the
Yeah,
Giants. I ain't watching that bullshit.
it
Oh,
started
the
on
new one.
Tuesday. Mhm.
Okay, all right. So I'm
I
gonna check
watched it.
that out.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch any of the preseason games? I've noticed that some of the like starting quarterbacks are actually playing game one, and man, there was someone on this pod last year that said it's important for these guys to play. I won't say who that guy was, but I would look at him.
Well, Kansas City played Patrick Mahomes and Jacksonville played Trevor Lawrence, but the Bears didn't play.
Houston played.
Yeah,
The Bears.
Caleb Williams warmed up, but he didn't
Caleb,
play.
he didn't play. Caleb Williams
Caleb did
didn't
play
play.
yesterday. What are y'all talking about?
No, in their first
Game.
preseason game, the Hall of
The
Fame
first
game.
Hall of Fame game. Caleb
Oh,
Williams
that
didn't play.
didn't count. Fucking Hall of Fame game.
I mean, but it is the first game in comparison
Oh
to
my
what
god.
Patrick Mahomes did. I wouldn't have played Patrick Mahomes at all.
Nah,
No,
I
I
don't know
wouldn't
if I
have
would have
either.
played Pat.
And
Pat's not
and
one of them.
and Travis Kelsey played, and Marquise Brown played, caught a
and got
pass,
hurt.
and dislocated his shoulder, which he might. We don't know how long. I mean, I don't understand
But he's made of quilted northern, so
Julius
he'd
Yeah,
stay hurt.
Randle. I don't understand how Julius Randle sits out a whole rest of the NBA season with a dislocated shoulder, and Marquise Brown probably gonna be out 2 or 3 weeks. But who am I? But
it,
I wouldn't be playing these guys.
so I saw Adam Schefter retweeted somebody. I'm assuming the person's a doctor, Shefty, and they went like very technical on these shoulder dislocation things, and they were saying the one that Hollywood Brown got,
Julius.
they said that it's very important for them to get like the imaging and stuff like that before they just go in and reset it. Because they were saying like that type of dislocation is near like some blood vessels or something like that. And depending
Hmm.
on if any of those get nicked, that can determine like what needs to be done in terms of getting it right or whatever, and it can impact the recovery time or whatever. So the person was saying it's very, very important for them to like look at everything first before they just, oh, dislocate, let me reset it, because you can
Yeah,
make it worse just resetting it.
but this I mean, for a team like Kansas City, they got a phenomenal defense, right? That's coming back, top 10, top 5
Hmm.
defense. But I mean, when you're talking about pass catching weapons for this dude, Hollywood Brown going over there to reset his career and to be, a potential pass catcher, that's a big loss for this team early on. And I don't know that that was an important enough game, especially with your veterans. I mean, I don't know what kind of message Andy Reid was sending. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
He might have left it up to them whether they wanted to play or not. CJ Stroud played last night. He played one series, 2 for 4, 41 yards and a touchdown. Um, I could see Stroud being one of those guys that wants to play. Caleb played as well last night. I want to say, I think it was last night, maybe it was the night before. Um, but a lot of these guys are getting out there and getting their feet wet because, I mean, the season comes at you fast. First of all, it's only 3 weeks of preseason now versus 4. And we've seen people come out and that first week of being rusty can really change the trajectory of a team. We saw how close the standings were this year. So, being in game shape early on, or going into the season, I think is super important. I know the Cowboys ain't played nobody on in their games, but we've got a shitty ass coach, so I would expect nothing less. And
I
and
mean,
Jerry Jones don't want to pay CD, which is really going to make it a tough year for us if he don't show up.
where I stand on that. I think Jerry Jones totally boggled this CeeDee Lamb contract situation, and I feel like it's making other situations worse. Because one,
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb was eligible for an extension last year. And if you think about last year when CeeDee Lamb was eligible, I mean, I'm not sure if they thought that there was some question of whether or not he was good, to whether he was good enough to extend. So that's like that part of the math doesn't map to me. And then when you look at the wide receiver market, the top of the market last year was Tyreek Hill at $30 million. Probably could have got CD in there for like 27, maybe 28. You know what I mean? And now this year it would look like, God damn, we got CD on food stamps. Looking at how these wide receivers are being paid right now. You know what I mean? And then now you have Micah who's coming up, and then you're telling Micah, hey, just play this year. I promise
Micah
you,
getting paid.
next year we got you. We're gonna cross my heart. It's all good. You can trust me. And then Micah got to be looking at CD like, I don't know, dog. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the DAC of it all. And so I don't know what the hell is happening with Jerry, but he has totally mismanaged this situation with Dak, CD, and
not
Michael
not to
Parsons, in
mention
my opinion.
not not to mention the off-season potential actions he could have got. No trades, no free agency.
Yeah.
The draft was
Just
one to be forgettable.
dog, just shut the fuck up. Like Jerry Jones to this point, like I'm at a point now. You guys know I've always backed Jerry Jones. I've always said, he made the moves, he made us win. He keeps us in the public eye. We're always in the, in the conversation. But now you have to shut the fuck up because you did the we're gonna go big this season and then didn't do shit. Brought back
Mhm.
Ezekiel Elliott. That was the one thing we did in the offseason was Ezekiel Elliott and a bunch of other bullshit ass signings on defense. Not even good ones that you'd be like, oh shit. Like we fucked that up. Now, with this, with CD, he comes out and says, oh, I have no urgency to get this done. You could have just not said nothing. You could have said, like anybody else, we understand his impact. We understand that we need him and we want to get this done. We hope to get this done, regardless of what you really think in the back of your mind. But he's so fucking arrogant that he had to come out and say, it's not even on my to do list. And now you got a guy who might have been able to, who might have been willing to take a little bit of, a lower pay, who's going to be like, no, I'm going to play hardball 100% because this guy doesn't fucking respect me.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones has to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, this whole thing has just been completely mismanaged, and it makes me wonder, and it's hard to look at people, who we look at as being like, greats in whatever they do, to be like, is he past his prime? Because one of the things has always been like, oh, people have said, and I've been one of them.
Absolutely.
The Cowboys need a GM, and people are like, it's his team.
Absolutely.
Look, he made the trades, when we got all those picks from Minnesota. And over the years, you look at great stuff that he's done in the GM role, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. And then now
But you
you
got to
look
get
at
us over the
Absolutely.
hump.
past, yeah, you look at these last couple of off seasons, and you're kind of like, yo, what's going on?
I'm gonna tell you why. It isn't, maybe we've always been correct about Jerry's eye for talent, but it hasn't been the talent aspect. It's been the money. And he must have missed the memo. It ain't 92 anymore where you can get Emmitt Smith, Michael Irving, for $2. These guys need to get paid, and you got to keep up. It isn't your good old. It's still the good old boys league, but you got to pay these guys. And I
I'll
think
tell
the
you what he's
money in the
thinking.
contracts. I'm gonna tell you the money in the contracts has been his problem since Romo. You gave Romo all that bread. You were afraid to walk away from him, and you sold the rest of your team short. And now, in a moment where you got the quarterback, okay, you got him for as long as you need. Now you need a weapon. You make statements like, I'm not concerned, when really you should be.
Should be.
And then and don't forget, a couple years ago, you then pay your running back before you pay your quarterback.
Now is the time to pay this guy. Now is the time to get some of that money where it needs to go because Michael Gallup retired. That was dead weight money that we gave to a guy that we shouldn't have paid, coming off an ACL tear. Like, what are we doing? And he didn't do shit to come back. Jerry Jones has to figure out what he's gonna do, but I think what he's thinking is I just paid Trayvon Diggs, and what happens with Trayvon Diggs the very next season? Out for the season. That's probably what he's thinking. I'm not saying it's warranted. I think it's bad thinking, and I think he needs to do better. It's gonna happen, but you have to also, like, if you're thinking like that, you got to think that the player's also thinking like that. If I go out and I don't get paid, and I get a Trayvon Diggs moment or something like that, then what? Or a Dak moment for that matter, right? Because same thing happened to Dak. He went out and got hurt before he got paid.
Yeah.
You
Like
know what
you
I'm saying?
see, when you watch um freaking Hard Knocks, right? You're gonna see in this first episode, like this is basically the CD Lamb situation, right?
With the
In the first,
Giants or
huh? No, with
the one
the Bears. You
okay.
basically see them, they're at camp, and then the thing goes up, and you're in the GM's office, and it's the GM sitting there. I didn't realize he was sitting there at first. It's a GM sitting there with Drew Rosenhaus or whatever, and they're banging out the final details of DJ Moore's extension. And the GM gets on the phone, calls down to the field, hey, can you ask coach, can DJ come up for a couple minutes? And then he comes up, boom. In the middle of practice, comes up, inks the deal, go back down. You know what I mean? And so it was them recognizing, like, yo, this dude has been money for us, and let's get him
Got to
taken
get
care
it
of,
done.
get it done. And Jerry's failure to especially the fact that with any player at the skill positions, especially the quarterback and the receivers, since they're the highest paid on a roster, especially when you have two good ones, right? Or in some cases like Jacksonville, you got an okay one, and whatever. I don't we don't get into that. But anyway, um when you recognize that, the best thing to do is to pay them early, because the earlier you pay them, the better the contract will be for you going down the line. Just because of the way the salary cap works, where it goes up, 5 to 10% every year, these deals get richer and richer and richer. And you could have had CD Lamb on a contract last season that was paying him an average of like 27 to 28 mil a year, and meanwhile the top of the receiver market is 35 million now. You know what I mean? Ranging between 32 to 35, and you would have had him on a deal that pays him 28 a year, where he could renegotiate that and try to get it bumped up in 20, like 2026 or 2027 or something like that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have to worry about CD Lamb for years to come. And they just totally just fumbled it.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is he really messed that up. Hopefully they get it done. Without CD Lamb, I mean, I don't know. He's got a lot of confidence in Dak. I have a lot of confidence in Dak. Don't matter how good you are if you ain't got nobody to throw the ball to,
Right.
unless you're Patrick Mahomes.
And maybe Jerry's thing is that he just thinks CD's not going to sit out. But I think if you're CD, you have to go into this. I mean, hopefully he's managed his money right, and I think you have to go into this thing like a Chris Jones and say, let's see what happens week one. And then
Yeah,
you see
He
the
and
Chiefs went out there and was like,
he
oh
has
shit, we got to get this deal done.
and he has more leverage. He has way more than Chris Jones because his age. It's one thing
yeah,
if he was younger, I mean older rather, and you're like, oh well, a couple years he ages out anyway. You let this thing walk, and you allow these fines to increase. You're gonna show him more and more. You care less about him and his pockets, and he'll say, "Hey, I'll wait out the season, and all right, we'll see." Because either way, you're still gonna have to come with the bag or let me walk, and
Well, the
somebody's
fines
done.
gonna
the
pay.
fines aren't the fines aren't an issue. They can be waived if you're still on a rookie contract. Your fines for
Yeah,
missing
they'll
can be
they'll
waived.
waive it.
Like
But
Chris Jones'
he
fines weren't
Even
waived, but his can be waived.
even better. I'm just saying, one way or another, when you do it, that's the only thing that they have on him. It's not like with the Jets and Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick is losing more money than he actually could get if he had just taken a restructured deal that we've already offered him. So him losing money at 30, and you're going back on your word, and when you were saying you were going to sign with us, now if you're Hassan Reddick and you don't play this season, say he comes back and he tears something, who's going to pick you up next year at 31, knowing you want $20 million and you're coming off a soft tissue injury? CD Lamb, on the other hand, he's young. He could
Yeah,
wait this thing out and be on another team having 40 touchdowns a year.
Mm.
he had the most targets last year. He missed most yards by 50 yards to Tyreek. He had the most receptions by 16 last year. You can't tell me that, and he missed most touchdowns from by receiver, receiving touchdowns by one last year to Tyreek. You can't tell me that this shouldn't be your priority coming into the season. You have to.
Jerry's completely, fumbling again. I think Jerry and his can still point out talent, but when it comes to closing these deals, they haven't been on the right side of these things since Tony Romo, in my opinion. And the O
Agree.
line has suffered.
Yeah, I mean, O line, it's not what it used to be. But Zach Martin is getting older. I don't know how long he's going to be sticking around. I mean, we lost the bane of our existence in our left tackle, who was uh, name
All right.
nameless to me. Um, but we'll see, man. I've got to catch up on what's going on in football, and next week is probably going to be a little more detailed for me. But I'm behind right now. Thanks to the Olympics. But what I'm not behind on, what I
Mm,
did do today
mm,
is Sunday, and
mm,
normally I would be gearing up and getting ready for my Sunday evening show, which I did
mm,
last week. I mean, I cleared the day. I
mm.
relaxed. I made sure I was not tired. I was energized. I had my little snack, my water for the House of the Dragon or VP's Hot D, pause, finale. And I was like, man, this is gonna be great. Can't wait to see all these dragons flying around, people getting burnt. Somebody gonna die tonight. And It's almost like it didn't
We
happen.
didn't get
It's almost
we
like
didn't
there
get
was
a
no show.
we didn't get a death, a battle, a boob, a nothing. And we barely got it. We definitely didn't get enough boobs this season, FYI. But we all kind of knew this was gonna be a problem because VP kind of loves to remind us, where they are actually in the book versus episode. And it's really about the pacing. And Steve, I think you nailed it on the head last week, or the week before. They're gonna have to make some shit up. There's no way pacing wise that you're gonna fit in what actually happened in this book and make it entertaining for fans. We'll be on week 7 season 7 before we see the
You
actual
can't tell
dancing
me you
thing.
want
So
this to,
you got to
yeah,
make
you
some
want
shit
this to
up.
be 4 seasons and you're moving this slow. Nah, dog. Look, I don't give a fuck what you want to do for these book nerds who want to look and be like, oh, did you see in his vision what we got? Oh, we saw this and we saw that. And did you understand? No, I don't want, no, we don't need to be thinking, not in a finale. Let me think about that in episode 5 or 6 or 7. In the finale, they didn't even give us a cliffhanger. This finale didn't even have a cliffhanger.
It did have a cliffhanger.
What was the cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger was
Damon's
Alicent
vision.
telling Rhaenyra to come to King's Landing. She's going to make
Thanks
sure
for
they open
making
the
my
gates.
point. That's my point. We didn't even have a fucking cliffhanger in this one.
And then
Nothing.
you see
Damon's
all
vision.
these different characters going to their starting positions for season 3. You see Daemon going out to his army. You see Alicent returning to King's Landing. You see Rhaena meeting Sheep Stealer, which didn't happen in the books. You see all these different things happening.
Want me to tell you what that is? That is the start of the finale. That's what should have happened. That should have happened, or there should have been 9 episodes. Episode 9 should have been them getting it going. Like, you could have left me with this bullshit of, oh, look, they're going to battle. Oh, because I'm like, oh, okay, it's about to start. It's about to start. So I hit the pause button. I'm like, there's no way it's about to start. This shit's about to end. And then it
I
ends.
mean, by far, this was the least entertaining episode of the whole season. By far.
I won't argue with you on that.
And
Well,
that is a
definitely.
travesty when you're talking about the season finale. That's just something you don't do.
My thing about this show,
I mean, we didn't even
this
see a
show,
titty.
my thing about this show and this episode is, or this season rather, is it's not even good dialogue. Like, it's like in Game of Thrones, we had Tyrion dialogue, we had Tywin dialogue, we had Jon Snow dialogue that like brought you in. Like, if the dialogue was good,
Epic back and forth.
right, then I would have been like, oh great. But I got Alicent coming in talking about, I'm sorry, why don't we try this now? Bitch, get the fuck out of here. And let me tell you something, VP. You know why that's not a cliffhanger? Because we saw her son getting the fuck out of Dodge. So that's not a cliffhanger for me. You can't tell, oh, I'm going to let him in the gates. Well, you're going to let him in the gates, and guess what? Guess what? Aegon ain't here. So it don't matter if you're in these gates or not. You ain't got nothing to. They really
Yeah, but
botched that.
we knew he wasn't going to be there.
They botched that season
I mean, I knew
finale,
he wasn't going
dog.
to be there, but
They botched it. They botched it. That was
but
trash.
I disagree with you on the dialogue. The show has had a lot of dialogue and a lot of great scenes or whatever. I think that I would argue that I think the difference is that the the characters from this show haven't had the kind of um
Development.
not even development, like impact that the other character, like a lot of people fell in love with Tyrion like right away. They fell in love with, or maybe they hated Cersei, from the jump. People love Ned and Arya and stuff like that.
You know what people love?
Whereas
You know who people love? The guy who was fucking his mom in his dreams. That's who people love. People love Damon. And what did you have this guy do? Run around a dark castle for a whole season. Absolutely dog shit. HBO botched it. Like, just trash, man. Trash.
I
Unacceptable, in my opinion.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
You enjoyed it because you already know the ending. You've read the book.
Could it have been better? Sure. You know what I mean? But I thought it was good overall. I thought it was good
The
overall.
the finale?
This
You're the
show, this
only one.
part.
Oh,
No, the finale. I think the finale was. I don't think it was
left
complete
a lot of
dog
meat
shit.
on the bone.
Yeah, I don't think it was complete dog shit, but I think that they could have gone a little bit harder.
The
I have to
finale,
wonder why they didn't go harder, but yeah, I
th-
don't know.
that was a good episode 8 if you had 10 episodes.
I can agree. I can get jiggy with that.
But I just feel like, especially, here's my other piece, especially after you made us wait 2 years. Like, that's
Yeah.
the other thing. Like, you pushed it back, and people are like, oh, they pushed it back because they're going to be some really big fights. And we got one fight this season. One fight. Like, that was,
Mhm.
man, that was bad, man. That was bad. They got to do a better job, man. HBO, this next season better be rewarding. I'm talking about episode 1. They better get it popping ASAP. Something must happen. And we don't even know when that's happening. We don't know when it's
I've
happening.
I've heard 2026, but I don't know.
Dog, if they make us wait 2
I
years
don't
for that
understand
shit.
why it's taking two. I mean, I get it that there's a lot of CGI work that gotta get done, but like I don't understand why it's taking 2 years. I mean, I get after season one you had COVID and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
so it took you a while to come
And
back.
the writer's
That's
strike.
right. That's understandable, but like why it's gonna take 2 years to go from season two to season three is not really making sense to me at
They
all.
should be shooting that shit now. They should have been
Exactly.
shooting it. Like, this is crazy. This is
And that's
absolutely
typically
crazy.
how it goes. They're shooting now, and then by the time you get to like the spring, they're finishing up editing, reshoots, and stuff, and the show is ready to drop in like September.
Right. Yeah. The, man, a lot of people were unhappy with that
Yeah.
finale. A
The
lot of
only thing
people.
I can think of is maybe because they shoot in Europe for most of Thrones, and maybe it's possible they still have some type of COVID restrictions and things like that determines like how many people you can have and social distancing. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something like that that's like delaying it, but I don't know that. I'm speculating, but I don't understand why it's going to take another 2 years.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. They may lose me by then. I'm not excited. Like, after the first season, you were excited. Like, that was a cliffhanger. Like, Rhaenyra's son gets killed. She screams, and you're like, oh, okay, it's getting real. Shit's getting real. But unhappy about that. Congratulations to the USA women's soccer team. Also, we forgot to talk about them.
Big fact.
They also won gold this
First
year.
goal since 2012.
Yeah. So shout out to them. 12 years. And they were not favorites. They were not
Mm-mm.
favorites at all. They just gelled. They pulled it together and they did their thing. Shout out to the Olympics and Peacock and CBS and ABC's cameramen. They did the damn thing. I mean, track and field, they did it. They was on point. Duh.
Oh my god.
Ooh. Whew. And then even in the beach volleyball finals, Brazil came out there in some damn gym shorts. Trash. So the
I was kind
cameraman
of I was
was
kind of
like,
shocked by that.
I was upset.
I was
And
like,
so the
what is this? Like,
cameraman was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go line up behind Canada. This is where I need to be anyway. And he did his damn thing on that one because Brittany,
yeah.
whew, Brittany. Oh,
It's
I
good.
followed her on
Olympics,
Instagram.
man.
Hmm?
I enjoyed this Olympics. I enjoyed it a lot.
Me too. Me too. I
I,
loved it. I loved
yeah.
it. And here's the other thing too. Like, as much as, even with them doing it that way, there was only big events that got spoiled, I think, on social media. Like, the men's 100 and stuff like that. But for the
Thank
most
you.
part, like, the swimming and diving, I didn't see on social media until I saw it on primetime.
I'm watching them do the medal presentation, and they're giving the U.S. team, and they have three different people that hand out the bronze, silver, gold, or whatever.
Mm.
The lady handing out the golds is like an older lady. These abnormally tall women are standing on a podium. You know what I mean? And like they're barely bending over for the lady to put the medal around her neck, and she's older, so she seems like me, where she can't like lift her shoulders that high, and they're not bending down high enough. And then like finally, when it's Brittany Griner, she's the last one to get her medal. She like comes like all the way down or whatever, which makes it like super easy for the lady to give her the medal or whatever. I'm just thinking like y'all not recognize this lady can't reach y'all. Like y'all already tall, and then you're on a podium. Like come on now.
Brittany Griner, man. What a story for her, huh?
Yeah,
Coming back from Russia, talking shit about the United States. Now she represents the United States. Look at that.
yeah. It's a free
Full
what,
circle.
what a country.
Right, full circle. Um House of the Dragon, man. Hopefully they do better. I haven't had a chance to watch anything new with the Olympics on, so it's been pretty quiet in on that front for me. You've been watching anything new?
I checked out a couple. I started Hard Knocks, like I told you. It was interesting. Obviously most of the focus was on Caleb. They got a part in there that's gonna be when they do like the rookie hazing or rookie talent show, whatever. That there's I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was insanely funny. So you so you I'm pretty sure you're gonna laugh your ass off when you see that. But most of the focus was on Caleb as well as the coach Eberfuse. Eberfuse's daughter is like I don't know. I don't know how old she is. Let me back up a second. I have to Google her first. But what'd you say? Yeah, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I said, and that's somebody's daughter. We don't talk about daughters.
But and then I don't know. I think his wife is like telling the camera like that she's getting her brake speed off or something because
Wait, what? Excuse me?
like I don't know. I'm reading into it obviously, but like she was talking about the season was finished and he was home for a couple of days like because like he's not got to leave to go to the office or nothing like that, and because he wasn't going out he didn't shave, and so she sees the beard and she's like, oh, I like the beard or whatever, and he was like, hey, wifey like it, so that's why he got the beard now. He refused, and then you know she tells him how to cut it and all this kind of shit. And like she's talking to the camera about like how good he looks with the beard. And I was like, it's almost like she was getting moist on camera and shit just from talking about it. It was crazy,
She on her back beat out.
So, but yeah, it was. So anyway, I watched that Hard Knocks. I watched Quiet Place, the new one, the day one or whatever it's called.
Where'd you watch that on?
I watched it.
You went to the movies? Oh no,
I watched it. I viewed it. I watched it. Like, why is it important where I watched it at?
Okay, got you. My bad, got you. I forgot what kind of crowd this is here. Got you Negroes are from the hood. I forgot.
But
I watched it.
I checked that out. It was pretty good. They were doing some idiotic stuff in it where it's just like I just can't see a rational person doing this, but it is what it is. But it was okay. And then the other thing that I watched, I actually watched a documentary on Joe Biden, but the documentary was about his decision to drop out of the race.
Mute this nigga.
Was it him at the beach yesterday?
Mute him. We don't care. Mute him.
No, it was about his decision to drop out of the race or whatever. But they kind of go back and like talk about his life and I get why it took him so long now. And he's not in it. I don't think this was like an authorized documentary. I think this is like something else they were working on, PBS, because like Jill Biden's in it, his sister is in it or whatever. And so I think this is like they were working on something else and then they packaged whatever else they were working on with this him dropping out part or whatever, And they talk about like when he was a kid, like how he's always talking about how you get back up and all this kind of stuff. They talk about how his father like ingrained that in him, and when he was a kid, he had to stutter and stuff like that, and how he had to learn how to talk and all this kind of stuff.
When he was a kid,
yeah, he has. I mean, I know, I got you, but like he had a super bad stutter, and the reason that he ends up getting over it is that he's in school one day. They got to read, and the thing is like. Sir Steve is a gentleman, but because of his stutter, he couldn't say gentleman. He was saying gentleman, like it was two separate words. And the teacher kept making him say it over again. And then the teacher at Catholic school, so this is a nun, says, Master Biden, or she says, Master Biden, Did you mean gentlemen? And they said he was so embarrassed he walked out of class as well as school and went home. And when he talked to his mom, and it's hard to imagine because I watch a lot of politics, so I've seen Biden's mom, but when I saw her when she was like 92, mom's apparently was about that action. So she packed him up in the car. They drove back to the school, and they were like, the mom asked the nun, like, "Did you make fun of my son?" And the nun was like, "Well, and she was like, "Did you make fun of my son?" And the nun like is trying to like talk around it. She was like, "So that sounds like, yeah, you did. If you ever pull any crap like that with my son again, I'm gonna come back here and knock your bonnet off your head." Or whatever. I was like, oh. So, but anyway, it goes through like talking about like all these times that he's had to like overcome things or whatever, and so that's probably why the debate is super shitty. People are saying no, you got to go, and they were saying like it's essentially him feeling like I've reached the top of what you can get at life and becoming president, and people are still doubting me. You know what I mean? And so it was interesting.
Well, um, he's been quiet. He's been quiet since he dropped out of the race. And I just got a notice yesterday from my student loans holder, and I'm like, oh, this might be it. This might be it. Nope, it was just a statement. So, still nothing on the Biden front. 4 years of deceit, broken promises, lies, heartache from Joseph Anthony Biden.
Robinette.
Yeah. Yeah, not Anthony. I don't know where
I
I
was
got
gonna say,
Anthony
I thought
from.
it was R.
Nah, I know it's not. But it's all good. Kamala's gonna make it all better, one way or another.
Kamala.
I mean, y'all, tomato.
I tried to watch the Umbrella Academy, the 4th season, and
I ain't watching that
Never
shit.
seen it.
no.
I never watched the
I
first
don't
one,
recommend it.
but you know what I do know? I do know that my name pops up every time it starts because everyone that knows me, when they see me, likes to say, "I want the show that you created." Umbrella Academy.
I don't get
Was
that.
the creator Steve Blackman or something?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is the author of the comic, or is it the showrunner,
Writer.
the person?
He's a writer.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
got the marathon on.
the first season was decent, but everything else after that has been no good. No
I'm gonna
good.
This
start.
is probably going to shock you guys at the marathon, but there's a person from Africa that's leading.
Yeah, go. Dog, anything over 400 meters, I assume it's gonna be Africa, an African nation that wins.
Yo, they be literally running cross continent. Yo,
Oh no, never.
Dog.
I'm sorry, that wasn't a leader. The lady from France is in the lead right now.
Oh yeah, France been
country.
putting on, man, for their home country. I'll give them that. They got 16 golds, 64 total medals. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Africans, I think they ran to France for the Olympics.
Right, exactly. Underwater and everything.
Yeah. Yep. What else?
Oh, correction. The French girl is no
Well,
longer leading.
technically, they wouldn't have had to go underwater. Technically, they wouldn't have had to go underwater because they probably could just go up from Morocco and up that way. But yeah, they probably ran
through Turkey and all that stuff.
They ran for sure.
Who's leading?
The African girl and came up, but I don't think she want to take the lead yet. She just so the French is still in the front, but she's like right behind her. They're like running. It's just the two of them, and then everybody else is in a pack way behind them. So she's probably like, I'm just gonna keep you in eye shot, and then once we get to a certain point, I'm gonna I'm gonna show you
400.
This is what I do. Yeah, that women's for when the commentator was talking about, she thought it was a mistake to put Sydney McLaughlin in the second spot. I agreed. I'm thinking like, yo, Sydney is a monster at the 400 hurdles. This 400 open, you got to put her at the anchor. But putting her in second just I mean, the lead was over at that
She
point.
won it. Yeah, she won it.
Yeah,
She created that one. She's light
her
skin.
leg ended it.
Team light skin, baby. Steph, Sydney, Gabby. We here, baby. I don't know what y'all talking about. Team light skin. Not Halliburton, no. We don't claim him. Y'all gotta have that guy. He got nappy hair. You got him.
Him and Jay Tatum.
Kenya.
Kenya. Oh yeah, no doubt. See that
Mm-hmm.
coming. Um
Yo, so what y'all
Yes,
think
man.
about what y'all think about Tim Walls, or as the black folks are
You
calling him,
missed
Waltz?
you missed that.
you missed that
Oh, we talked about
dialogue.
it already. Oh
Well,
man.
yeah,
Okay.
Johnny come lately or whatever the fuck that saying is. What do
Sorry, man.
y'all
You
I
be
didn't fall
proud of us
asleep till
though.
like 4 o'clock in the morning.
You be proud of us though. I think we did politics justice today.
my boy Waltz
Had
is
some
black.
positive
He gonna pop
things.
he gonna pop up with a Caesar. They gonna edge him up real nice right up front. I'm
Nah,
surprised
he
the
gonna get a
memes haven't
season. He gonna
started.
get one of them. He gonna get one of them NSYNC get laid fades.
Yeah, he might do that. All right. Well, there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it is. And we're trying to get under 2 hours. So with 4 minutes left, we're gonna give it to VP, and I think we'll land there. I think we'll land under 2 hours if we give him 4 minutes.
Hey everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys for joining us on this Sunday morning afternoon. Like we always say, make that phone call, send that text message, reach out to your people, let them know let them know you're thinking about them. Also, shout out to Team USA and all of the sports. Shout out to all the competitors worldwide who accomplished their goals. Um, you know, dream big. With that being said, man, you guys can find the podcast on all podcasting platforms by searching at Castworthy. You also can follow us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, you can leave us a like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Help us grow the audience. We very much appreciate it. And with that being said, man, we will see you guys next week with another fresh episode of the Castworthy Podcast. Until then, we're out. We love you. Peace.